Neil Armstrong becomes the first ever recipient of the Congressional Space Medal of Honor in this 1978 photo. During this ceremony, President Jimmy Carter, Right, bestowed the brand new award upon Armstrong and 5 other space pioneers, including John Glenn and Alan Shepard. A Coca-Cola advertisement made by Spreading Grains for Pigeons in St. Mark's Square, Venice, 1960. Woman cutting her birthday cake in Iran, 1973, 5 years before the Islamic Revolution. In this photo, the Titanic's Collapsible D lifeboat approaches the RMS Carpathia, another transatlantic passenger ship. Collapsible D was the last lifeboat to be lowered from the port side of the Titanic during the 1912 disaster. Soldiers returning home from World War II, 1945. Ever the outdoorsman, President Roosevelt leaps over a fence on horseback in this 1907 photo. The 26th president frequented the Chevy Chase Club in Washington, D.C. Annette Kellerman promotes women's right to wear a fitted one-piece bathing. She was arrested for indecency, 1907. Lockheed Martin employee, Sally Wadsworth, working on the fuselage of AP-38 Lightning in California in 1944. Geologist Thomas Griffith Taylor and meteorologist Charles Wright in the entrance of an ice grotto. Terra Nova expedition, Ross Island, 5th of January 1911. Photo, taken by Herbert Ponting. Harry Houdini, possibly the most famous magician who ever lived, prepares for one of his many death-defying tricks in this rarely seen shot from April 30th, 1908. For this specific trick, Houdini dove 30 feet into the Charles River while collared and handcuffed. He surfaced, with the chains in his hands, a mere 40 seconds after diving, to the amazement and relief of 20,000 spectators. Even the mayors of Boston and Cambridge came out to watch. 105mm shells from an Allied bombardment, all fired in a single day on German lines, 1916. 17-year-old assassin using a traditional Japanese blade to kill socialist politician Asanuma in Tokyo, 1960. Here, a room full of women is hard at work sewing American flags, which had only 48 stars at the time, somewhere between 1916 and 1920. While much of the male workforce was overseas fighting in World War I, women stepped up, volunteering to help make flags at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Before we go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button for more shocking history content. Cetshwayo, king of the Zulu who defeated the British at the Battle of Isandlwana, 1878. Hitler rehearsing a speech in front of a mirror, taken by his personal photographer Heinrich Hoffmann, 1925. 4 years after women won the right to vote, the National League of Women Voters gathered on September 17, 1924, to encourage and empower their fellow women to do just that. The election of 1924 was the second one women could legally vote in, and millions did. A man browses for books in the old public library of Cincinnati. The building was demolished in 1955. Today, an office building and a parking lot stand where it used to be. Check out this incredible behind-the-scenes look at the construction of one of America's most iconic monuments. This shot, taken sometime around 1932, puts the massive size of the mountain's presidential likenesses in perspective. A California National Guard soldier escorts a surfer out of Venice Beach, Los Angeles, after it is shut down to prevent rioting or any large gathering of rioters there during the 1992 Los Angeles riots, May 2, 1992. Amelia Earhart, America's favorite lady pilot, prepares to take off for the first leg of her planned flight around the world, Oakland, California to Honolulu, Hawaii. She stands in front of her chosen aircraft, the Lockheed Electra 10E, which had been built specifically for her. A man takes a selfie using a stick of wood to activate the camera, 1957. American soldier wearing the crown of the Holy Roman Empire in a cave in Siegen, Germany on April 3, 1945. George Carlin being arrested for violating Wisconsin's obscenity laws after performing the controversial routine 7 Words You Can Never Say on Television, May 27, 1972. The imprint of a Mitsubishi Kamikaze Zero along the side of HMS Sussex, 1945. At 4:31 a.m., an unauthorized photo taken of Stalin inside of the Kremlin shows the very moment he was informed that Germany had begun their invasion of the Soviet Union. It was taken by Komsomolskaya Pravda, editor-in-chief. He was ordered to destroy it, but instead saved it. June 22, 1941. Anatoly Golimbievsky, a heavily decorated Soviet veteran who lost both legs in the Second World War, acknowledges the salute of 4 young sailors from the Nakhimov Navy School on V-Day in Leningrad in 1989. Only one of 2 photographs in existence of the U.S. Supreme Court in session. Cameras are forbidden in the Supreme Court, but this photograph was taken by a young woman who concealed her small camera in her handbag, cutting a hole through which the lens peeped. 1937. The Statue of Liberty, towering over Paris, just before being disassembled and shipped to New York. Human fly. George Willig scales the exterior of the World Trade Center's South Tower in 1977. Completing the climb in 3.5 hours, he was arrested at the top after signing several autographs and was fined $1.10 by the city, a penny for each floor he passed. This 1958 photo shows a prisoner being used to test safety nets before they were mass-produced for the public. Soldier stands beside his M60 machine gun, which is mounted on the steps of the U.S. Capitol to deter rioters from entering the building during the Martin Luther King Jr. assassination riots in Washington, D.C., April 1968. Woman operating a camera underwater, 1940s, 7 feet 3 inches Jakob Nacken, 221 centimeters, the tallest Nazi soldier ever chatting with 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters. Canadian Corporal Bob Roberts after surrendering to him near Calais, France in September of 1944. A 9,000 HP spiral turbine being built in Germany for a power plant in Norway, 1928. Tarring and feathering was a horrifying practice that started in feudal Europe and continued in early America. In 1918, during World War I, a German-American farmer named John Mainz in Luverne, Minnesota, suffered this inhumane punishment for allegedly not supporting war bond drives. Mass of melted nuclear fuel in the aftermath of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. In 1895, a big accident happened at a train station in Paris called Montparnasse. It was 4 p.m. on October 22nd when the train that was supposed to stop didn't stop in time. The train didn't stop because the driver didn't brake on time. To make up for the lost time, the driver thought of driving faster and braking later than recommended. Judging by the photo, we all know how it ended up. Happiest man in China, taken in 1901 by British anthropologists after deciding to document the Chinese. The Chinese didn't know photos were a serious matter and decided to be goofy, hence the pose and smile. A student protester gives the V for Victory sign in front of Chinese soldiers of the PLA, Tiananmen Square, 1st of June 1989. Photo taken by Peter Charlesworth. 2 boys watch military vehicles drive through La Dole, Saint-Lô, France. The boys are Max and Jean Robin, ages 12 and 8, whose father was executed by the Germans for being part of the French resistance. Remember that photo of the construction workers having lunch on the unfinished Empire State Building? Well, here's the photographer Charles Ebbets taking that photo. The punt gun, which was able to shoot over a pound of ammunition in a single shot and deplete stocks of waterfowl. It was banned in 1860. Nikola Tesla sitting in the laboratory with his magnifying transmitter. Applause and salutes for Hitler after Germany successfully annexed Austria in 1938. A frozen Soviet fighter propped up by Finnish soldiers to serve as psychological warfare against the invading Soviets. In 1941, the photo on the left was taken of Soviet soldier Eugen Stepanovich Kobitev on the day he left to go to war. The photo on the right was taken in 1945 after the end of the war, just 4 years apart. A German World War II prisoner is released by the Soviet Union and reunited with his 12-year-old daughter, who has not seen him since infancy. 1956. 57,000 German prisoners marching to Moscow in 1944 after their defeat in Belarus. The remains of Soviet astronaut Vladimir Komarov after his space capsule crashed on re-entry. Margaret Thatcher with British troops after the surrender of Argentina in the Falklands War. Stalin's son Yakov Djugashvili being captured by the Germans in 1941. He was later killed in a prison camp. Sweden switched to driving on the right side of the road in 1967. This was the result on the first morning. An anti-communist revolutionary holds a Molotov cocktail behind his back during the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. Renaissance Circus Trio, a group of acrobats performing a gravity-defying stunt atop the Rockefeller Center in New York City in the early 1930s. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is attacked by States' Rights Party member Jimmy Robinson as King tries to register at the Hotel Albert in Selma, Alabama, on January 18, 1965. Ota Benga, 1904 to 1906, a Mbuti pygmy born in Congo Free State in 1885. He was sold to an American explorer for display at the 1904 World's Fair. He was then housed in the Bronx Zoo Primate House. Florence Thompson, the migrant mother in Dorothea Lange's famous 1936 photo, holds up her likeness during an interview after her identity was made known, October 10, 1978. And there you have some of the most shocking photos in history that truly capture unforgettable moments. If you found these images as mind-blowing as we did, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you never miss out on more incredible content. Thanks for watching.